Let those notifications go out. Here we are. Hello, chosen one. Check it out. We are going to talk. Let's just chat. Yeah, let's just chat. Let me go ahead and let me check like our the usual check and all of that. As we continue. Oh, let me tell y'all something. Oh, I just dropped some stuff on the Patreon channel. Ooh, the vagus nerve. Wow, I'm still processing a lot of that. I got more coming for y'all too about that. That's something that you won't necessarily hear a lot of people talk about when it comes to trauma healing. Yeah, you hear about the autonomic nervous system, the ANS, and all of that, but what about the vagus nerve? Yeah, it plays a huge role in traumatization. So we're going to be unpacking that going forward. Oh gosh, tried and true, because yours truly is living the experience of becoming aware of all of that and the pressure from the internal body heat, and oh my goodness, it's something else because it's part of the spiritual battle truth. Absolutely, spiritual battle truth. Wow, we got to over 2.2 thousand videos on this channel, y'all. Wow. And oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. We are going to go ahead and monitor the chat on this end over here. Let everything work itself out, notification-wise. In the meantime, let me go ahead and get these formalities out of the way. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Let's Just Chat show, streaming on the YouTube channel Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, where trauma healing and spiritual growth are front and center while combating radio frequencies for healthier living. And we got to talk about these spiritual battle truths. We are in a spiritual battle for the mind between chosen ones and narcissists. Okay? Never forget that. It's a spiritual battle. The battle we face is not physical. God tells us in Ephesians chapter 6, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. High places. That don't mean the sky. That doesn't mean the sunshine. That doesn't mean the top of that tower. Spiritual wickedness in high places is the mind. Think about it. Our thoughts are spiritual power. So what we think is what the devil's after. Wants to be able to control how we think, because how we think governs our life, our subconscious mind. And I talk a lot about how the autonomic nervous system, our nervous system, is controlled by our thoughts. And it is. So if you are subconsciously thinking that you're afraid of something, then your ANS is going to respond accordingly. What makes you think that doesn't mean the vagus nerve? Absolutely 100%. You could do the research. Okay, vagus, V-A-G-U-S, nerve, the vagus nerve. Very important part of trauma healing. Because I will tell you that when you learn how to control your thoughts, when you learn how to control yourself, you learn how to control your emotions, because that's the only control we have over ourselves. How we react if we must, okay, which we learn not to react so much, but how we respond if we must. We learn to test the spirit by the spirit. And when God revealed to me about the vagus nerve, I bring you all more details about that on the Patreon channel. But I'll drop tidbits here and there, obviously, because it's what we do. It is called planting seeds, after all. And then we continue to water them. That's how it works in the kingdom of God. And so the devil knows this. And with the narcissism side of marketing, they know that. that repetition, right? Repetition is how it gets in the subconscious mind. So through repetition of, repeating a certain word over and over again, gets in that subconscious mind. That's a subliminal message. For example, the Jezebel case study, always, and I mean always, referencing food this, food that, food this. It was a subliminal message. That's right, because she knew if she could get that in my head, in my subconscious mind, while I was bouncing back and forth between hotel rooms before I realized that my ANS had gotten a little bit re-traumatized, that I would just be thinking about food all the time. Well, it only worked up to a certain extent, maybe 50%. Because I had to learn, wait a minute. Just because I'm not around narcissists doesn't mean I can just go eat whatever I want. It doesn't work that way. I mean, I could, but no, we don't want to do that. But I had a mindset of my own, thinking that once I got away from all narcissists, that I would have better digestion. That's true. But what about radio frequency poisoning? Yeah. See, I didn't account for that. So I said, oh my goodness. Okay, we see what's up here. So it took a little while, but quickly I got that out of the subconscious mind, because I've never been one to sit there and think about food all day. No. I've always been a mouse eater, like a little bit here, a little bit there. In fact, throughout my life, I've been picked on about that. Go figure, right? So it took a little while, but her using that all the time was a subliminal messaging technique. And that's what's used by the Matrix to get people to start thinking about stuff, because the more you think about stuff, that's what you're going to attract. And so the more I would think about food, the hungrier I would think I was. Because when the body's internal heat is too high, it will do that. It will throw your perceptions off. So that you will think things are bigger than they really are, or see things as they're not. And then also trick you into thinking you're hungry when you're not. And then also make it difficult to know when you're actually full. So with all of that out of the way, you have to be very mindful, because it is a spiritual battle for the mind. That's a spiritual battle of truth. Subliminal messaging is used all around us. And I said, thank you all for hitting that thumbs up on these messages, so our fellow spiritual warriors for Christ can get the message. They're very important. Oh yeah, very, very important. Because if you don't understand that we're not wrestling against the flesh and blood out here, the human host of demon spirits and whatnot, we're not wrestling against that. No, we're wrestling against the spiritual wickedness in high places. We are wrestling against a matrix that is full of subliminal messaging. God tells us, what a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The power of life and death is in the tongue. Proverbs 18:21. So when you really grasp what that means, and you understand that the spiritual battle for the mind is an attempt by the matrix and the devil to try and get control of our thoughts, because the devil knows that our thoughts are spiritual power. So if we are sitting there in our subconscious mind where our thoughts are formed, if we are sitting there telling ourselves, you can't do this or you can't do that, well, so be it. If you're sitting there telling yourself negative things about yourself, then so be it. See, I learned recently, I quit telling myself that I got GERD, because I now know I don't. I do not have GERD. I had too much salt inside my body, and I was being exposed to too much radio frequency. And that was causing the symptoms of GERD. I don't have that. So once I learned that, I quit telling myself that I have GERD. So that's where it all starts, chosen one. Part of the renewing of the mind, purging that subconscious mind, because what you tell yourself, so shall it be. And that's what the Matrix and the narcissist want you to do. The devil wants you to tell yourself that you have things wrong with you when you don't have anything wrong with you. Because see, if you have something wrong with you, what you going to do? That's right. You're going to go and become dependent on something in the Matrix to try and make it right. And so that could be a number of things. But once we learn that they're using metal toxicity with the radio frequency poisoning, but also the metals that they are putting in medications and other products, read the ingredient. And this is not a secret. This is not a secret. It is all over TikTok. That's why I'm really surprised that, I'm really surprised that a lot of them who are putting these truths out there have yet to find this YouTube channel. I'm really surprised. So let's say a prayer, huh? Yeah, let's say a prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. That they find us, because we're on the same page. Because we learn, this is a spiritual battle truth, that they're putting metals in a lot of things. And when you think of the excessive salt that's used in food out there, that's deliberate. Because the devil knows that our body needs to have excessive salt in order for any of that radio frequency to have a negative impact on our biological body, especially the nervous system. So without all of that toxicity going on the inside of the body, don't forget, you all, I got a master's degree in forensic toxicology. I know about metal toxins, along with other things, psychoactive substances, drugs, and what have you. But radio frequency poisoning is metal toxicity. They're putting all that excess salt and other things, metals. Metals are salt. Look at the periodic table, okay? All the blue, all right, those are salts. And then you have to, and you also have metalloids, okay? You have metalloids. That's another topic for another day. The metals. And they're putting them in, they put it in a lot of stuff. Because one of the known facts out here is that aluminum goes straight to the brain. Hello, we're in a spiritual battle for the mind. But mind you, aluminum is not the only metal that will cross what's known as the blood-brain barrier like that. It's not the only one. But you've got thallium, you've got mercury. You got to think about potassium, calcium, those are metals also. Magnesium, also a metal. They all have different purposes. They all serve. Okay, when you think of your bone and what they're made of, potassium, calcium, sulfur, etc., your bones are not made just of calcium, by the way. Your bones are made up of several metals, and the sulfur being a gas. So your bones are made up of that. Now, when you are consuming health food, if you will, or let's just say healthier foods, that's what I was trying to get out, healthier foods. If you're consuming healthier food, you get the right amount of calcium, potassium, okay, magnesium, that kind of stuff. You get the right amounts, then that's okay. It's not going to have a toxic effect. But if you've got an excess buildup, a buildup of excessive salts, that is what the devil wants on the inside of the body, because the salt serves as a magnet for the radio frequency poisoning. So basically, if your body's internal conditions are right, and you have enough excessive salt inside the body, and the body's heat is high enough already, right? It's already higher than it should be. And so that, right? And then muscle tension. Okay, a little bit of that muscle tension. Holding some nerves captive, so you already got that going on. And you walk into some place like Walmart, but see, while your ANS is numbed, right? You don't know that. You're not aware. We were all here once before. The ANS was numbed. We weren't aware of it. And we walk into Walmart or some other store where there's frequency everywhere, right? Bleep, 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 bleep. You have no idea that that high frequency is targeting the audio, of course, your vagus nerve, but it's also targeting specific salt molecules, thank you, on the inside of your body. And so it's basically heating whatever metal salt it is designed to heat up on the inside of your body, but you don't know it. You don't know it. The entire time you shopping and eating and doing and stuff like that, your internal environment is being manipulated with radio frequency because of excess salt. And so that just keeps the body temperature higher than it should be, which again slows down circulation, which then slows down digestion, which then slows down overall your body's normal biological function. And the poor vagus nerve is like, But you don't know that. You don't know that. You're not supposed to know that. So how do I know that? Okay, healing from a physical assault. Yeah, she tried to pass it off as me falling down. No, Forensic analysis. Bruise patterns tell a story. No, we talk about patterns tell a story in this ministry. Okay, well that applies to bruise patterns too. Again, masters in forensic toxicology speaking. I had to take forensic medicine 1 and 2. So this is not just God's wisdom, but basic scientific facts. And then also awareness. Anyhow, I know exactly what happened. I'm not supposed to know, but I do. Glory be to God. Because God kept my subconscious awake the whole time. Taking notes on my behalf. So, that being said, getting to know my inner child has been wonderful, by the way. And we continue to get to know more of our biological body. It's like we're not only growing closer to God, but to ourselves. Because God's revealing how all of this plays a role in our overall health as to what we're battling against in the spiritual battle for the mind. Because as soon as we think something about ourselves, so shall it be. So you experience some sort of discomfort that's caused by radio frequency poisoning with all that excessive salt on the inside. For example, I used to think I had GERD, right? Yeah, no, I don't. But I got tricked into thinking that because of the radio frequency symptoms. Because of the radio frequency symptoms, I got tricked into thinking that about myself. So I started taking this pill. Unnecessarily taking a pill that has, you got it. It has sodium. Sodium is salt. It's a metal. Has sodium in it. So I'm just, yeah, it does. It works because I think it works. Thank you for coming on in. Hey, fellow warrior. Again, thank you all for hitting the thumbs up. Those of you who sit here and watch and don't hit that thumbs up, you're a monitoring spirit. I know what's up. But thank you for the watch time. All right, now. So we get tricked into taking things unnecessarily. Read the ingredients on that stuff. If you can't pronounce it, then it's toxic. I guarantee it. If you can't pronounce it, it's toxic. Again, this is not a secret. I am not the only one who knows this stuff. Again, it's all over TikTok. And then there's a lot of people who are coming out and speaking out against the things that they have learned and are learning and know about. Because they themselves might have worked in the industry and their conscience got them. And now they're no longer in that industry and they are basically doing what we're doing. raising awareness, pushing back against this radio frequency for healthier living. That's why I wanted to have the Spiritual Battle Truth chat today, so I can tell y'all, because I go more in detail about all of this on the Patreon channel as well. So I'm giving you a nice Patreon channel preview right here in this Let's Just Chat episode, because I got tricked into thinking that I had GERD. So that's the tip right there. The first thing we got to do in the spiritual battle for the mind is stop telling ourselves that lie. And so that's what I did. I stopped telling myself that, because I said, oh no, that's radio frequency. If I get a hold of too much salt and then I'm exposed to, if there's no radio frequency, then that means that there is a chemicals in the air, what have you, in the water. So if it's not a radio frequency, it'll be a chemical that will serve as the radio frequency that will activate that, whatever salt in the body, and I'll experience those GERD-like symptoms. It's happened a few times. Thank God, not too severe. And so I get an ice pack. I'll go eat a popsicle if I got to. I just got to cool that down. Got to cool the inside of that body down. I guarantee you it goes away. Now, I still have some of those over-the-counter thing, okay, while I go through the detox. But that's it. That's it. Okay, that's it. There's just one thing to help mitigate that. If it gets bad enough, then well, I've got to take something to help mitigate it. But I no longer tell myself that I have GERD or that that's heartburn. I don't tell myself that anymore. We unlearn that. Because we know, okay, that's radio frequency, my body's detoxing. Because a lot of times, y'all, let me tell you, as I go through the detox and as the bruises heal, okay, they got to circulate. So I have to remember that about my circumstances, because I do have to remind myself of this, because of the simple fact that I'm like, oh, because it feels like a miracle around sometime. But it's because there was a lot of bruising I didn't know was there. That didn't show up. Some of it didn't show up until about a year later. So we're good. But as those heal, as the body's internal temp comes down and the bruises heal, okay, and exactly as that happens, circulates, so the salt that's trapped inside that bruise got to make its way out now. So I'm eating, and then the devil loves his double whammies. But that's why we learn to manage, and for me, I try to keep my sodium and salt intake as low as possible because of that, and knowing that, okay, if I feel a surge, that's what's happened. But it's good, because over time that's going to dissipate. It will stop doing that once all the bruises are gone, and the excess salt is out of my system. But but I no longer tell myself that. That's the point here. We no longer tell ourselves that we have something wrong with us, because we don't. It's the radio frequency symptom that we are experiencing because of our body's internal environment being in the right condition for that to have a negative impact on it. See, that's the thing. The more aware we become, okay, the more aware we become of all of this, the more we know what to do and how to better self-care, and to go, okay, hold on a second, and not panic. See, that's the other thing. Some of the discomfort that we would experience when we were younger and didn't know any better, at some point would, right? Like cause a little bit of a panic, like, uh-oh, what just happened? There's something wrong. And then maybe run off and get an x-ray. Ain't nothing wrong. Just gotta rest a little bit or whatever, right? That's what we find out. So hundreds of dollars later, now we're like, hold on a second. If we experience a slight discomfort, we stop what we're doing and we do an assessment. Wait a minute. Salt, radio frequency, chemical. Did we do it to ourselves? You know what I mean? And when I talk about did we do it to ourselves, that's part of how we know we're self-sabotaging. A good example is, did I lift a little too much? Okay, see, that's what I'm talking about. When you start weightlifting, you got to go slow and steady. You're not going to sit there and be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, because it's very, very specific when you are weight training. It's 1, because you got to make sure you're breathing too. 2, okay, very slow and steady. So that's one example I have of did I do it to myself. If I experience a slight discomfort, if I turn a certain way, but I just got done maybe an hour ago, I just got done weight training. Did I do it to myself? I do. I check that. Okay. So I'm like, radio frequency. Okay, no, that wasn't the issue. How much salt did I take in? Okay, no. Then I had to have done it to myself. How did I do it? Oh, maybe I did one too many curls. Okay. And that's okay, because I know I can just rub that out and, put a little bit of magnesium gel there or whatever it is I need to do. See, we know how to self-care, so we don't jump the gun anymore. Basically, we don't allow it to cause us to panic over anything, because we're able to sit, we're aware, we're like, hold on a second, salt, radio frequency, oh, wait, what was I just doing? Okay, so we stay calm and collected so we can make a better informed decision about how we're going to handle that. Now, if it persists and it is severe, okay then. God, where do you want me to go? You know what I'm saying? Ask God. He'll guide your steps. So I'm not saying don't have it looked at if it's minor and you're like, oh, it'll, a pinched nerve, it'll work its way out. A little bit of a pulled muscle, needs rest, water, protein, that kind of thing, okay? Maybe take a day break from weight training. No, it doesn't hurt. In fact, it's a good idea. A lot of trainers will tell you that if you're starting out, a lot of them go 1 day on, 1 day off. 2 days on, 1 day off. It just depends on what it is and the goal. But you want to keep that in mind, because in the spiritual battle for the mind, the devil would want us to panic over that and run right into the matrix. Because I will tell you that the matrix, if they are given, not all now, mind you, y'all got to do the research. There are medical professionals out here who are in it for the right reason. It's like finding a needle in a haystack kind of thing. But many of us can attest to the fact that given the opportunity, those that have the love of money that are in that profession, given the opportunity, they will quickly misdiagnose. In other words, they'll diagnose you with something that don't even exist. It's just a radio frequency symptom. But see, if you've got a numbed ANS and you don't have control of your mind, you would know that. So you would believe whatever they told you because you don't know anything else. Think about that. The Matrix wants you to believe whatever it is they tell you about yourself when you don't know anything else. And it's very, very easy to convince you of that when you don't know anything else. Right? We were all there. Although chosen ones being spiritual, we always knew there was more to all of this than meets the eye. And so I wanted to bring it to y'all's awareness of what is going on. Because this is part of our movement for healthier living. How you going to do that if you don't know? Right? How you going to do that if you don't know what is going on? How you going to do that if you don't know how it's affecting you? How you going how are you going to list of questions is quite long. And so the Matrix and Narcissists know this. They don't want people to be healthy because healthy people don't serve the Matrix. Healthy people serve the kingdom of God. Ooh! Healthy people serve the kingdom of God. Let that sink in. Or shall I say healthier people. I don't think we can be 100% because we are exposed. Okay, so let me be clear here. Can we be 100% healthy? We can be healthier. But the reality is, because we're exposed to all of this, we just know how to combat it. We'll just know how to make better choices. But we're surrounded by all kinds of toxic stuff that I don't see the possibility of being 100% now. Mentally and on the inside, yes. Okay? Remember that. Internally, yes. Externally, not so much. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm going to take a look here at the chat now. All right, what we got? Okay, as we were talking about. All right, so yes, let's do a little backtrack. The atmospheric pollution, as we're talking about, okay, it's all around us. So being completely healthy internally with what we think, yes. But externally, not so much. So we have to be aware of the external factors. So atmospheric pollution been cleaned up a lot. Well, it has, but I smelled very heavy metals in the air the other day. I talk more about that on the Patreon channel. And then, of course, like I said, internally, the closer to God we are, the healthier in mind and body. Okay, because remember, in Colossians 2, verse 19, it says that we increase with the increase of God. That's all the way around, including nourishment from within. From within. And then, okay, when you talk about certain medical professionals, if they given the opportunity will they'll misdiagnose, well, because they see the dollar sign behind it. They see all they see is the green. All they see is money for them. Because if it's something that requires frequent and ongoing and permanent treatment, guess what? That's job security for them, isn't it? Ding, 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 ding. Spiritual battle for the mind. And so you ask if they're really qualified or trained properly. Well, of course they are. Of course they are. They're doing exactly what they're trained to do. Scam people out of money and misdiagnose. That's what they've been trained to do. Not all of them, though. That's why I said y'all got to have that discernment. There are some good ones out there. I have a late grandpa who was a medical doctor, but he was an all-natural, holistic. Yeah. This ministry is right in line with his teachings about that subconscious mind, y'all. How our thoughts govern the majority of our lives. See, the enemy knows this. My late grandpa Orth knew that too. And so, when you think about that, he was trained or whatever, but, hey, he chose the righteous path. Remember that, you all. We all have choices. We can be trained and educated in whatever field we're trained and educated in. It's all about choice. Are we going to choose the unrighteous route with that training? Or are we going to choose the righteous route? Because even as a trained and certified trauma specialist, I could have taken the unrighteous path. I could have said, how can I utilize the pathogenic black and white thinking approach to make quicker, more money? I could have done that. But I chose not to, because as a chosen one, none of us are righteous like that, okay? But we are bold as a lion, okay? It says the righteous are, in other words, we're just, okay? We're honest, we're genuine, we're fair. The narcissist and matrix are not going to see us as being that way, because they're not getting their way, because we're speaking truth. And they know that we're speaking the truth. No weapon formed against thee shall prosper. Speak your truths. And so, as we were talking about, okay, well, yeah, there is that big money in keeping people sick, or thinking that they're sick, or not feeling well. Let me tell y'all something. In this ministry, this is why we're finding ways to capitalize on this. Because chosen one, we do not like to see anybody unhappy. I would tell you, I saw this, oh man. All right, as I walk sometimes, and I see people, sometimes, elderly, if you will, and I could tell that they're not well, they don't feel well. And you see the misery all over their face. Does that make them a narcissist? Not necessarily, no. But I don't like to see that. Chosen ones, we don't like to see that. So I was thinking, I'm like, this is why we have our movement pushing back against radio frequency for healthier living. So for any of you who might be experiencing some discomfort right now, and you might be feeling unwell, I want you to reduce your salt intake. I teach this a lot. What you want to do, first and foremost, you want to get a notepad You ain't too old to do this. Get a notepad or whatever it is. You got a piece of paper. As you are eating throughout the day, all right, look at the label. They make up numbers out there, okay? They make up numbers. So we don't really know if that's how much salt and sodium is in it, but that's the only thing we have to go by. So I want you to tally it out, everything you eat for the day. Get you a baseline. What is your baseline sodium intake for the day? And some things you may have to estimate. And if you've got access to the internet, you can look it up. So like if you eat a banana, it's not going to come with the sodium count. Look it up. It might tell you there's 5 milligrams of sodium. Okay, write that down. All right. If you eat, okay, let's say you eat a sandwich, 1 slice of bread, Italian bread, let's say the sodium count's 130 milligrams. Okay, write that down. Mayonnaise, 1 tablespoon, 70 milligrams of sodium. Okay, write that down. All right, that's what I'm talking about there. Get you your baseline. Find out what your baseline is. Then the next day, try to reduce it by 100, a little at a time. Reduce it by 100. I guarantee you, within a week, you're going to feel a lot better. But at the same time, you want to reduce how much frequency, radio frequency, devices, sounds, radio, television, okay? Turn it off. You don't need it. You got to focus on you. You're not feeling well. Oh, okay. And like many, I'll bet you've gone to several different specialists and ain't nobody telling you what's wrong. They don't know. They just want to run a bunch of tests on you. They can't tell you what's wrong. They have no idea. But they want to take your blood, though. I'll tell you why they want to take your blood anyway. Because they want you to be anemic. They're trying to deplete you of any nutrients you may have. It's an evil world out there. But you, if you're not feeling well, if it's not anything real severe, but you just not feeling well, just start by reducing that sodium. Reduce your salt intake. Find your baseline and then reduce it a little at a time. Because if you try to cut it in half, don't throw your body into shock. My goodness. Remember, I have a master's in forensic toxicology. I had to take forensic medicine 1 and 2. Let me tell y'all something. Do not, when you start, you got to have a baseline. If you don't know your baseline, all right, then you really need to find your baseline. You got to have a starting point. And then reduce it by 100 milligrams at a time. Okay? Don't be going, if your baseline is 2,200, don't try to cut that in half to 1,100 the next day. You will throw your body into shock. Don't do that. But after a week, you will start to feel better. But don't let that trick you into thinking you can just go right back. This is a process. It's called detoxing. And I've got a course for you at CHA Academy, How to Detox from Trauma Nutrition course. You can make a one-time payment or 5 monthly installments. CHA Academy, btbw.com. That's listed below. That's going to take you to how the trauma bond is formed. Click on all courses. You will find the How to Detox from Trauma course. That's going to guide you step by step. Plus, on the Patreon channel, I have digital product available. A low sodium menu guide, a medium sodium menu guide. I've also got a high protein, low carb menu guide. All part of our movement, combating radio frequencies for healthier living. You're not feeling all that well, and you've been here and there and can't nobody tell you what's wrong. Boom. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to this ministry. Tried and true techniques. Also, God's wisdom based on scientific facts. Tried and true techniques and more. And yes, bread can be the biggest sodium carrier. So that's why I highly encourage y'all, if you're shopping for bread, look at the label. Get the one that has the lowest sodium. And so I'm going to do a recap to help y'all again. How do you find your baseline of your regular salt consumption on average? We'll cover that again here in a moment. Okay, so you had a few conversations at work. There's a lot of people who think that they have Right, they think they have that wrong with them. Yeah, and I know I do too. I feel like I want to jump in and tell them, I know, see, you don't have that. It's radio frequency poisoning. Your body's trying to detox. If you're experiencing symptoms that are of like the cold or what have you, your body's just trying to detox. Again, that's on TikTok. Listen, I don't know who it is. I don't remember who it was. They posted it. They said that you will not find a cure for the common cold because the common cold is the cure. Bingo! Because your body's trying to detox. It's detoxing from radio frequency poisoning. The devil knows this. That's why he sells you a bunch of crap to take over the counter that's going to prolong the symptoms until the next go-round when it starts to warm up. And the cycle starts again. So, I know. Exactly. At work, not the time and place for that discussion. No. And you got to remember also, a lot of people who are very much conditioned into believing that those things exist, you ain't going to convince them otherwise, okay? You are not going to be able to convince them otherwise. I will tell you, there's been a couple I tried to tell, and they were like, well, everybody has their own opinions. And I'm like, okay, see, they're not going to buy it. It's just that it makes them uncomfortable, because it goes against their long-held belief that those things exist, okay? So you have to keep that in mind, that there is the generation out there that is so perfectly programmed, you will not get through to them. They will never understand that what they're experiencing is a radio frequency poisoning symptom. It's metal toxicity. They will never understand that. Okay, they will go, no, wait, but I want to take this medicine because, it makes them feel better. They think it makes them feel better. They don't realize that med is actually prolonging the symptom. So yeah, you want to be careful. You got to be mindful. There's some people who are just not, they're not gonna listen. Okay, the Matrix knows that. So, the way the body processes the salt is questionable. The body did not hold on to a lot of it unless you have muscle tension. Let me tell y'all something. Muscle tension from traumatization goes very, very, very deep. So if you're still experiencing symptoms through the detox, okay, and it's making you think that the body holds on to, it can, but it will only hold on to the excess with muscle tension. And when I say muscle tension, I'm talking about the muscle all the way from, your spinal cord to that muscle right there. Okay? Think how deep. Pull it up. Google it. Google the anatomy, okay, of your muscular system. See how deep it really goes. Oh, all the way down to your fingers. Your fingers. You may not even notice it, but your fingers. The muscles in your finger could be tense. And so that's what would hold on to the salt. You could have a spot right here, just one spot on the back, that's really, really tense, but you can't feel it because it's numb. It's holding the nerve captive. So it's numb. So you don't know it's tense. Until you go back there and you go, you start rubbing a little bit. That's the only reason the body will hold on to the salt, is with extreme muscle tension. And that can be from head to toe. Because that's what the devil wants. Extreme muscle tension slows down circulation, which in turn slows down digestion. And your vagus nerve is responsible for a lot of your biological function. So, the body, if your muscles remain tense all the time, then yes, your body's going to hang on to a lot of it. And then you got to think about the consumption of more, right? We live in a matrix that says what? Consume, obey, sit down, don't ask questions, right? So all that muscle tension, they don't know it's there because their body, the ANS is numb, so they don't know the muscle tension there. They just keep consuming more salt on top of that salt that's there. That's what keeps that going. That's what keeps them perfectly programmed. Or you could say perfectly poisoned. Either way. So, and so it just takes, you got to learn, the body's got to relax. You got to become aware. Got to get that heightened awareness. So that your body, you tell it to. How do you tell your body? Magnesium lotion, magnesium gel. Yes, you can do that. Rub that on there. You'll notice. Magnesium supplements on the inside can help as well, so that your body starts to eliminate the excess salts. But you got to relax. You got to overcome trauma triggers. You got to make sure nothing's triggering you anymore. It's those triggers that lead to the tension, especially the audio. Keep the jaw tense. I tell y'all this for a reason. Check that jaw. Okay? If you are noticing that you're like feeling a little bit aloof or what have you, and your circulation seems to slow down, you're not as clear-headed as you once were earlier in the day, check that jaw. The high frequencies out here are meant to trigger the jaw. Tense up that jaw muscle. Let me tell you, everything else follows. Tried and true. I'm telling you, as I go through this detox healing from that physical assault, I can tell you, I'm walking it. I'm living it right now as the body relaxes from that physical assault. I didn't realize how deep that tension goes, but it goes deep. And I can tell you, it works. Get your body to relax. Tell it to. Remember, your thought control, your autonomic nervous system, your vagus nerve is part of your ANS. That's your autonomic nervous system, your inner child. Tell it to relax. Let's say you look at something and you're not sure what it is, and your ANS is trying to respond. You can feel the tingling. Tell it, relax. Relax. And you'll notice it will start to relax. You tell it to relax. And yes, we do. Chosen ones, we've got the duty of care. If you're sensitive to your body, you may get that it's... Well, okay, I get what you mean. When you say if you're sensitive to your body, meaning you're aware. If you are self-aware, if you are aware of your body, you know your body. That's right. And you do. You think those muscles as one connected system from the head to the toe. And your nerves are running all through every bit of it. That's why I said on Facebook, on Patreon, repair the muscle, repair the nerve. It's that simple. How do you do that? Creatine. And so, right, exactly. That's what the Matrix is all about. Don't ask questions. Just sit down, shut up, obey. So, right, and you got to be intentional with it. If you feel your body starting to tense up, check them jaw muscles. Wait a minute. Because I've done that. Listen, we got to become aware of it. That's the thing. We got to be paying attention. So if I'm out and about and I'm around a bunch of sound, different frequencies, I'm paying attention to what my jaw's doing. And I have caught it a couple of times where the jaw, in response to a couple of different high frequencies, it was trying to. And that's when I can step in consciously and intervene. Yeah. You got to lose what other people... don't be caring what other people think. I don't care. I'm in public, and if I feel... I don't care who's around. And I feel some frequency trying to get in there. I'm doing that. I will do that. I will stop it in its track. I will not allow that frequency to tense that up. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I've been working too hard to allow the devil to steal any of that ever again. For all the nutrition and the healthier eating that we're engaging in, mind you, with the occasional Cheeto, because I do have an inner child. You've got, discernment, okay, you all? I'm not being hypocritical here. I'm being serious. Your inner child is going to have some craving, but it knows when enough is enough, okay? Just to give it taste, keep the ANS happy during the detox, you're going to be a lot more relaxed. That's it. It's not a new habit. It's not going to be forever. It's temporary. It's part of the program. It's part of the process. Okay? That my ANS will say, I want this. Okay, we're going to compromise. I will give you a couple of Cheetos, but I'm going to get this raw broccoli and some cherry tomatoes and some pineapple, okay? Okay. We compromise. We're working together. Now, and am I going to be buying Cheetos forever? No. No. It's just my inner child has a liking for that. When it's feeling as if, so it's a balance. But just know, okay, that we don't overindulge. Just enough. Keep the ANS happy. It stays relaxed. I'm telling you, tried and true technique. And I know fellow warriors who are doing it can attest to that too. But don't make it a new habit. Don't let it get in there and say, oh, just because. No, you're doing it for the detox purpose and for relaxation. Because it's very important. Keep the ANS relaxed and the rest will follow. Because it all starts with the mind. And so you got to be intentional and tell it to relax, and it will. Right, the back of the head and base of the skull is another area of tension. Right, you can't feel, right, you're not going to be able to feel the muscles clamping back there. That's exactly right. You will not necessarily, you won't notice it. You won't notice it. For whatever reason, that is one spot back here that, I can tell in the jaw, but if it's having any effect back here, you won't necessarily. So what I do is I'll check. This is part of the daily self-check-in I teach a lot about in this ministry. You get up in the morning, you put your feet on the floor. Thank God for another day. And you get ready to armor up. Put that spiritual armor of God on. Right? Okay. Now I'm doing this. I'm like, all right, where are we at? As we get up, we wake up, we stretch, right? Oh, yeah, okay. So as we stretch, okay, and we're doing, and I'm like, all right. So that way I have a baseline. All right? Yeah, I have a muscle tension baseline now. First area. Because we good here. We are conscious and aware of this spot while we're out and about. If I hear a frequency and it tries, and I stop it. So you can do the same thing, but you got to be aware of it. You can feel that. You can feel it. But that back there, not so much. And so I'll check it out and all of that and be like, all right, where are we at? Okay, and then go about my business if I got to go to the store or what have you, and then I'll check in. Where are we at? Okay, we're still good. We're still good. We're still good. Didn't have any responses or reaction there. Yeah, it's the inner child eating those delicious cheese snacks. Ha. That's right. Okay, the back of your head and the base of your skull getting warm. That's it right there. That's why I gave you all the cooling towels. Okay? For those who have not seen that, all right, this works. And I'm going to tell you, because when I started doing it, that's when a lot of the muscle tension in this area started coming to light. I didn't know it was there. Regular hand towel, okay? Get it wet, all right? And to where it's damp. And not soaking wet, but damp enough, right? All right, and then you're going to want to fold it. Work with what you already have at the house. You ain't got to go buy nothing. Unless you don't have a hand towel, you might have to, okay. Anyway, a t-shirt. You can do this with anything that will be long enough, okay, to wrap around that area. You get it nice and wet, wring it out, then you fold it, you roll it up, okay, you roll it up. Put that sucker in the refrigerator for at least 24 hours. Now, you can put it in the freezer for, keep an eye on it. It don't take long, okay, you don't need it frozen. But within 24 hours, you can take it out. And the best thing to do, you could even fold it like this and roll it. Okay, fold it like this and then roll it up. That way it's easier. If you're going to do the base of the neck, you can use this cooling towel on any area of the body that you notice starting to get warmer than it should. And so what you do is you'll take this. If you've got long hair, pull it up. and take that cool, damp towel from the refrigerator, wrap it around your neck. Okay? There you go. There you go. Make sure that the cooling towel is at the base of the skull. Okay, not too tight, but you'll feel the coolness. And you can use a clamp if you need to. You can use a clamp to clamp it. Now, if you just want to get the neck, that's when you can do that and then fold it this way. It's nice and cold. Now, I have bar towels that are actually longer to do that with, but the longer way really works with a hand towel, okay? And so you can do that. You can do that. If you just want to get the neck, then just get the neck. But you could also take that cooling towel and do your shoulders. Yeah, bring it down a little bit. Oh, right there. You could do your shoulders with the cooling towel. And so I call it cooling therapy. And it works. It works. So if you're feeling the back of your head and the base of that area getting warm, cooling towel. Seriously. A few minutes here and there. Get two towel. Okay, get 2 towel. Get them damp. Bring them out. Put them in the refrigerator. 24 hours later, you can do boom, boom, back to back if you need to. Depends on how hot it is. But be ready, because if you do it back to back like that and the tension's holding on to excess salt, be ready for a head rush. Because the salt is going to give you a salt high as it gets back into circulation, so it can that's why it's getting too hot back there. Muscle tension, slow down circulation, holding on to salt. And you want to get that out. If you've been your head on a hard surface and that area gets tight, okay, and I will pardon the pun. Cool towel, cool, okay. But you get me. You can do 2, you can do 3 towels, however much you feel you need to do. And how much room you have in your refrigerator for those towels. Because after you get done with it, if it's starting to dry out, damp it back up. Okay? And then, of course, you'll know when you need to wash it. But that's it right there. Cooling towel. And it works wonders. It works wonders. All right, so here's another recap. How do you find your baseline for sodium intake? One more time for those who may have missed it. Okay, you take a notepad or whatever it is, piece of paper, something. Okay, and you want to tally up, keep tab. Make this the plan. Okay, make this a plan. You start your day, breakfast or snack, whatever it is you eat for breakfast. Take a look at the label, if there's a label. Write down the amount of sodium it tells you is per serving. Never forget per serving. So if it's 1 tablespoon, get you a tablespoon, measure it out. All right, there you go. And if you do more than a tablespoon, you can do the calculation there. Like a tablespoon and a half, okay, that's easy enough to do. All right, 70 plus 35. All right, so you got 105 with 1.5 tablespoons of mayo. That's to give you an example on average. Okay, so now with that, you write that down, and then, you know, whatever it is that you're consuming that has sodium, okay, you want to write down per serving how much sodium you're estimating, okay? You're getting yourself a baseline, an estimate to start with. All right, and then snack. Look at the label. If there is no label with a sodium count and you've got access to the internet, Google it. It'll tell you. And you can ask, like, let's say you have an avocado. All right, you need to know how much sodium is in an avocado. And you can say per serving. All right, it'll tell you what the serving size of an avocado is, and then how much sodium is in that avocado. An average. All right, you write that down. And then by the time you're done eating for the day, you should have all of your sodium added up. Okay, add up all of that. That total is your baseline. That would be because you're eating like you normally do. Might be different thing on different days, but if you're eating like you normally do on day number 1 of this, get that baseline. That total. Okay, now you want to start to reduce that by at least 100 milligrams. I would say no more than that. to start. 100 milligrams, okay, per day. Once you get, because you'll notice your body will, and you will. You're going to start to feel energetic. You're going to start to feel a lot better. But be mindful. Slow down. Because you don't know what is underneath all that salt that's been holding on to the muscle tension and thing. Make sure you stay hydrated. And that's why I say you don't want to cut that in half. You don't want to cut that sodium baseline in half right away the next day. You will throw your body into shock. Don't do that. But over a week's time, 2 weeks' time, whatever, you're going to start to feel better. You're going to start to get your energy back. You're going to start to notice things. You're going to get your senses a little bit sharper. But don't let that trick you into thinking, hey, I'm all go. Oh, no. All right, slow and steady. Because you don't know what's underneath those layers of salt yet. You could have a bruise that you don't know about. Okay? So you want to be mindful. Take your time. One day at a time. Okay? Be mindful how you move. Be aware. Be conscious. Okay? Yeah, 2 scrambled eggs, a toast. Okay, 60 mil. Yeah. Right. Each eggs are about that per egg. You're right. Okay. Salt reduction would definitely explain why you feel better, fresher after a salad dinner. Sure. Absolutely. If you're reducing that salt intake and you eat something that doesn't have a whole lot of salt, like a salad with maybe hopefully an animal protein, yeah, you are going to feel a lot lighter and a lot fresher. And so internal bruising, does it hold salt? Yeah, all bruising does. Think about what bruising is. It's the collection of blood. All right, I'm gonna simplify it, okay? I could tell you what they talk about bruises are, and from my forensic medicine 1 and 2 class, I can give you all these long, sophisticated. No, I'm not gonna do that. A bruise is just basically, it's a pool of blood that has collected around that area of injury. Like you whack your elbow enough times, coagulate, there you go. All right, it is. It's just on the inside. Think about, when you have a scratch and your blood will coagulate, it'll scab over. Okay, well, think of that on the inside, okay? So if it's been there for a while, and it's just kind of like it scabbed over a little bit right there, yeah, what's in there? It's salt. Okay, because if you've ever done that, or you've ever like gotten a paper cut and okay, many of us have. We never thought of it before, but how salty was that? Very salty, because our blood is very salty. So there you go, okay? There's your tip right there. And again, 1 day at a time, slow and steady. Reduce your sodium intake by at least 100 milligrams per day, no more than that. If you want to start with just 50 milligrams to be on the safer side, that's fine. I mean, if you're over 3,000 milligrams of sodium intake per day on average, you might want to start with 50 milligrams to reduce the next day. You know, I think it just depends, but 100 is a safe zone. Okay, 100 milligrams at a time is a safe zone, because it will allow your body to adapt, and it will allow you to become aware of, oh, maybe there's a little bruise there. Okay, and so it'll start, yes, it will heal. Okay, you become aware of it. So don't panic. It could be from something, I mean, how we whack ourselves, right? We whack our elbows on stuff all the time. It's just we don't always know it. So there you go. All right, everybody, you keep on keeping on. And thank you for the term about on how it goes. But yes, salt is inside the bruises. Absolutely. So there you go. All right. You can always catch more information from any of the playlists on this YouTube channel. You will learn more about all of this in this ministry, because that's what we're all about. It's part of our combat against radio frequency for healthier living, because it's so important to push back against that in this spiritual battle for the mind, so that we continue to get heightened awareness and keep control of our minds and not allow the devil to steal our health from us anymore. Glory be to God. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your continued support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father, and you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.